Just keep shifting it. Yeah, that's not.
What we're saying, hoodie?
Yeah, perfect.
I didn't have a shave, I like a scruff.
No, you look good, bro. Like that. Or like
that. Do I start it?
No, I'll kick it off now. Right, you ready?
Okay.
Yes, we are back with another episode of the Premier League Hangover. A lot to discuss today, actually. I'm quite excited. We've got Tolu here behind the camera, and Mr. Wright is joining me in the hot seat. So yeah, I wanna plug actually Ollie Potsy, one of the Spectate boys. Great vlog midweek away at Copenhagen. If you've not watched that, go and check it out. It's cool. So Tolu, let's crack away. Have you got a question for us? Let's begin.
Yeah, I think the first thing is, how did you think your boys played on the weekend? Did you think you deserved the loss, or do you think you could have got more from the game?
Yeah. To be honest, I did not think we turned up and played like the usual Manchester City side you see us normally play week in, week out. I thought the biggest issue of all that City had was that we were trying to kind of force the ball to Haaland. Every time a midfield player kind of got the ball, they kept looking to get it into the striker, when teams know from what we've done earlier on in the season, that's how we're going to play. Every time De Bruyne got the ball, looked up into Haaland. Why can't we go back to our old ways where, you know, we have so many creative players creating different chances? I mean, the only thing I remember is Haaland having those big chances. I don't really remember any other players having any chances that were significant. So I was very disappointed in that sense.
But you know what? Liverpool weren't great though. There was no moment in the game where I thought they looked like an outstanding side. I just think City bottled it a little bit. And honestly, Pep, I've just got this, I don't know what he did. The system's worked. Oh yeah, De Bruyne has been out of this world this season. And then he's gone and stuck him on the right side of midfield. And you're kind of thinking, you know, you've got this player, this enigma, this creator, this guy that can just do anything and everything with the ball. And they're leaving him out wide. And he couldn't get involved, and they locked him off. And then Haaland's getting involved in the build-up play. Foden's having to drop too deep. You've got Bernardo a bit lost in it. And the game got to Bernardo as well. I mean, he was all over the place. And he's someone that I normally think is quite cool and composed.
I love that from Bernardo.
Just think Pat got it wrong.
I love the passion that he showed.
But he got had off. And as everyone, I've got a bit of a distaste for Liverpool. I mean, I will be honest. But they just looked up for it. City never got involved in that game. They turned up thinking they were going to win. They didn't give everything. They didn't get the subs right because they didn't make any until late in the game. And Liverpool looked up for it, and in the end they deserved it.
I didn't understand why Pep Guardiola didn't utilise the bench more. You know, we have the likes of Jack Grealish, Riyad Mahrez. I know he brought Alvarez on in like the 89th minute, but like, come on, what's he going to do in the 89th minute? The game's gone by then. I think Pep needs to understand in these big games, changing it up here and there isn't necessarily a bad thing. I know he goes back, he's a manager that's kind of like stuck in his own ways, you know, that starting 11 that he puts out. He always sticks with it. He rarely makes those big changes. So going forward, I'd like to see that more from Pep Guardiola. I mean, another thing I want to mention is I know that the referee's performance has been under a lot of scrutiny. It's been looked at and analysed, you know, this today and, you know, after the game. What I didn't understand was there was no level of consistency. The consistency wasn't there, you know. On the Phil Foden goal where he puts the ball in the back of the net, the referee then decides to bring it back and deem it was a foul, when throughout the game he's been letting those battles go and play on. And granted, you know, in slow motion, when it's slowed down, that doesn't help. And to be fair, he grabs his shirt and it is a foul. But later on in the game, you see that situation where Bernardo Silva's clinging onto Mo Salah's arm, and he's letting that play. So I just didn't understand. I think from the beginning, if you're gonna let those kind of tackles, you know, tussles go, you let it go. You don't let VAR interfere and get involved. But then on the other hand, if If you're gonna say, oh no, those tussles they are fouls, you have to clamp it down and consistently do it. So that was the only thing I was disappointed from the referee's perspective. I don't think City were good enough to get any result out of the game. I think over the course of the 90 minutes, Liverpool were the better side. So yeah, you got to give it to them. Righty, talk to me about that battle between Haaland and Van Dijk. I think it's the second game this season where Haaland's failed to score.
Yeah, I mean, obviously him not scoring is one thing, but I think Haaland will be kicking himself. For me, there was never a point in which it looked like Van Dijk was in control of Haaland. He was always free, he had the space, he had the chances, he had the moments he could have taken them, but he bottled it. Big early, giving it the robot. Having none of it, couldn't do it in the big game.
Would you say Van Dijk pocketed him or not?
No. He missed a sitter of a header. Should have done better on one of his finishes. I mean, also we're setting the bar high.
Still had 4 shots on target in the game.
He did. Yeah. He just bottled it. I mean, it's the first time I've seen Haaland play where I've just not been that impressed with him. I mean, especially there was the ball in the first half. City on the break. Kev plays a perfect ball into Haaland. And Haaland goes to lay it off to Phil, and it was just too short, too feeble, and they got away with it.
Did you see Joe Gomez got awarded the Man of the Match award? What was that about?
Rogue. It's like last week at Everton United. Casemiro got Man of the Match. He was appalling all game. Man of the Match award, just ignore him. It means nothing.
Obviously, it was a much-needed win, and obviously Mo Salah got back on the score sheet after a pretty ropey start for him. This season. Yeah,
I mean, he just showed what a player, you know, taking that ball down on the half turn like that and just saying to Cancelo, like, see you later. Yeah. Unbelievable. And then to have the composure to just slot it past Edison. And the celebration was cold. Do you see it? So cold.
Cantona-esque.
Yeah. And you just,
as someone who plays up front, I cannot say how hard it is what he did to hold off your man and then take it down.
Yeah. Bro, I want to see that from you on Wednesday night when you play and I can watch. I want to see that. I want to see that celebration too.
I thought Firmino was decent in transition. I thought Thiago got himself involved. I thought Robertson was good to be back on the pitch, but there was no one I looked at and thought, oh, what a game. Actually, I take that back. Alisson Becker should have got Man of the Match. He got the assist, made some big saves. Deserved
14 points on fantasy.
And actually, talking about big goalkeepers, I think this brings us on to our next game.
Yeah, definitely. You're talking about the Chelsea-Wolves game, right?
Kepa is a man I've slated a lot. I think he's got biscuit wrists, poppadom hands, you name it, he's got it. He's a flapper. He offers nothing as a goalkeeper.
That's getting clipped.
He offers nothing as a goalkeeper. But I tell you what, he was honestly one of the best performances I've ever seen a keeper have in the Premier League. He made world-class save after world-class save. I mean, well, Tolly's nodding his head here. I mean, he was brilliant.
He was impeccable, which, considering his last 4 seasons out of the Premier League, it was a shock. It was a proper shock to the system. He made a really good double save in the first half, and then his save on the Ings header was incredible, as well as being very good with his feet and his distribution. It was a solid return, and I think Mendy might be shaking himself here because it doesn't seem like Potter fancies him at all. Yeah,
Mendy's not a keeper that I've got. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand him as a shot stopper, but I just don't agree that he's this world-class goalkeeper. And Kepa showed something, and he had to show something because Chelsea got ran off the park.
What is it about all these new managers that come into a club? It just seems to be a common theme. Every time a new manager comes into a club, they change the goalkeeper. You know, Pep Guardiola did it at City. He kicked Joe Hart straight out of the club when he came, got Edison in. Jurgen Klopp had to do it with Alisson.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Mikel Arteta, he's just walked into Arsenal, did it with Ramsdale.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Tuchel did it with Mendy.
Yeah,
everyone's switching them around.
Tuchel did it with Mendy. What's the reason behind that?
Your keeper is your backbone. Your keeper is your spine. You don't have the goalkeeper you want, and then all of a sudden you're not, you know, the side you want to be. You can't play out there in the back you want to play. You can't have the man behind you that you want to have saving your shots. And I think that goes without saying in all teams. You cannot win titles with a bad goalkeeper. You can't win anything with a bad goalkeeper. And so I kind of think that's the first position where you got to go, right, he's terrible, get rid of him. Some of them make rash decisions. Some of them ruin keepers. I mean, look at Joe Hart with Pep. He wasn't a bad goalkeeper. But you know, he's made to feel terrible, not the goalkeeper he wanted, and then off he goes playing somewhere else.
I think Mason Mount's due a lot more credit and deserves a lot more praise than he gets. I think after this performance at Wolves, if he can continue this way, he is definitely in contention for a spot in the England team. And the way he's playing, he could even be a starter for me.
It's good to see Mason Mount back. I think he's a player that gets a lot of stick for not a lot of reason. Goes forward well, defends very well. You know, he's a nice bloke as well. He's not one of these people, you know, flashing about being all off the pitch. And I think, you know, it was nice for him to get a few goals.
One of the best TikToks I've seen recently is a montage. Chelsea put it up this morning. It's basically Mason Mount when I think he's 10 years old. We've all seen that video. And he talks about how to take the perfect free kick. You know, he talks about how many steps back he takes, where on the ball to hit it. And then it's that audio clip played over when he bags him at Wolves, and I just thought it's such a good TikTok. It's so good. If you've not seen it, go and watch it. It was class.
The first goal, very, very rogue defending from Tyrone Mings. I'm not sure where he's attempted to head that ball out. It's a great assist, actually, to be honest. Put Mason right in, and then the free kick. I'm not sure what Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez giving it the sidestep before he goes.
Let's move on. As we've seen, Arsenal have continued their title charge. A well fought away win at Leeds, 1-0. And I think Arsenal are just going from strength to strength. I know they didn't play that great, but getting the win away on the road, it's all you need at this point in time.
On that Leeds game in particular, Leeds are going to be kicking themselves. Patrick Bamford can't put the ball in the back of the net. I think it's one of the biggest flash in the pans that I've seen as a centre forward. The guy had, you know, about 20 decent games. He's been appalling. I know he's been back from an injury. I know he's been all this. He's been shocking. Some of the chances and the penalty, you worry about as a forward. And I think that could be the start of something we've been talking about for a while now, which is this kind of Leeds bubble bursting. And I think Marsh, the coach, has done a fantastic job, but actually their squad is thin. It's not very good. There's not a lot of players in that Leeds team who get in very many starting 11s across the league, and I think they're in real trouble of going down.
The standard that Man City and Liverpool set in the last years is you kind of do have to be good in nearly every game, and I think if they play like that again, they won't get the win, because the XGs were pretty damning as well.
It's clear. I think it's been a fantastic start to the season, and I know in the media, Mikel Arteta, you know, he'll be playing it down. He'll be saying, "Oh, we're there. You know, we just want to secure top 4." But I think when you walk into that Arsenal changing room, I think he'll be rubbing his fingers together, and he'll be saying to those players, he'll be going, right, we're in a title race right now, and you can't deny it. I think Arsenal are there and are going to stick around for a long time, and I think come the end of the season, they will be one of the clubs that are still up there. And this year, I'm hoping from a neutral perspective that no one team runs away with it. I want to see a close fought battle till the end, and so far Arsenal are doing everything they can to, you know, title the likes of City, the rest of the top 4. So yeah, it's exciting times, especially if you're a Gooner.
Losing 1-0 to Wolves, I mean, that's tough for Forest. You've signed all these players, you've put all this work in, you've given all this, and the guys, I mean, they look poor, missing the pen. All game they were at 6s and 7s, getting absolutely taken on by Wolves, who I thought were the better side, in all honesty. Then again, it was a dire game. Don't get me wrong. We're probably going to move on from this because that game was shocking. So Tolo or Madeira, fire away on another game, because I'm not even going to let anyone speak about Forest Wolves because it was shocking. It was one of the most boring 90 minutes of my life. I don't know why I put the laptop on. Complete waste of time. Terrible.
Well said. I think the only
same for Palace. Don't want to talk about it.
I was being able to watch Diego Costa in the Premier League again.
Yes, big Diego. A lot of time for him.
Fulham, Bournemouth, the 2-2 draw. What are we thinking about these two teams, boys?
I didn't actually watch the game, if I'm being totally honest.
Go on then, who scored?
Who scored? Let me guess.
See, the Spectate media man himself.
Who scored? I reckon Mitrovic bagged. Am I right?
Yeah, that's
I'm right.
He scored
right.
He scored 4th goal.
4th goal.
Yeah. If you get all 5 baffled, you don't even know who the guy is that scored the 3rd goal.
Would you? I don't know who he is.
It was Jefferson Lerman.
I could have got that.
Dominic Solanke.
No, I actually knew Solanke scored.
And then Issa Diop scored from a corner.
Yeah.
Did he?
Good header from a corner, that.
It was.
Well, there you go.
Which of those sides finished higher this season for you?
Good question. Good question.
Yeah.
Bournemouth are doing class though, aren't they? They surprised me.
Do you think he'll get the job?
Well, Tolu actually said on Premier League predictions in the article that if he keeps going like he's going, he'll get the job. Tolu, you think he will get it? Yeah.
Well, obviously, as a United fan, I'm a bit wary about caretaker managers.
Yeah.
Obviously. But at the end of the day, the guy's unbeaten in 6 games. He steadied a sinking ship. A ship which I thought was destined to drown. And he's somehow come in and then unbeaten.
United was an interesting one because I think over the course of the 90 minutes, they deserved to get something out of the game. I think I saw that clip of Cristiano Ronaldo where he goes and puts the ball in the back of the net because he thinks that the Newcastle have taken like a short free kick.
They did take it short.
What is he doing? A man of his calibre shouldn't be going and running up to the ref and complaining like that after
winning mentality.
After putting the ball in the back. Oh, what a load of rubbish! Messi would never do that, and that's why Messi's the GOAT.
That Manchester United game did really highlight the like you said, the inconsistency within referees because there were 2 stonewall penalties in that game that failed to be given.
It was embarrassing. The Wilson penalty is one of the most stonewall pens I've ever seen. He gets completely lamped by Varane inside the box, easy pen, and then Ronaldo against Trippier. I do think that's a foul. He gets none of the ball. He sweeps his feet from underneath him. Ronaldo gets nowhere near it. Would have had 2 pens. Would it have been 1-1 maybe? Joelinton missed an open goal. But the man I want to talk about missing open goals is a man I've tried to stand by the last few weeks because I think United's midfield is terrible. But Federico Fred has got blood all over his hands, all over his legs and all over his feet. Because the man, I can't believe how bad that miss is. You cannot miss that as a professional footballer. He was appalling. He was appalling midweek and he was appalling then.
Where do you think they'll finish?
They might finish 5th, bro.
5th?
Sixth. They're rubbish. They're rubbish. They've not got it.
Tolu's crying.
Anthony's quality.
He is.
Anthony's quality. Bruno, Dallo.
I've got to disagree, James. We're getting top 4.
Yeah, top 4. Yeah.
Reckon. To be fair, you know what? I'm saying this. You've easily got a shout. I just don't want to believe the fact you get top 4. But the thing is, you have started beating the sides you should beat. So I think there is. I say it like you've got no chance. You probably have got a chance. But the way Chelsea are playing at the moment, the way Liverpool are kind of. I mean, everyone's worrying about Liverpool. If they win the next game, they're on level points with United, and they've got a game in hand. Like football fans, most reactionary thing on the planet. Give it time. It's a long season. Then again, it's going to be a long season for Fred if he does anything like that again. You know, Anthony's come in and set the league alight. He's been outstanding. Not a lot of players hit the ground running that hard. Martinez, he's been good. He's been very good.
Anthony's a baller.
Varane's been fantastic this season when he's been fit. Luke Shaw looks like he's going to try and make a little recovery. Malacia, Sergio Aurier 2.0. He's going to give away a penalty. I'm telling you. He has got a mistake in him. I can tell. I can sniff out from a mile away. But, yeah, I mean, with United, maybe I'm being harsh. They've got an alright side. They've got some players firing again. Ten Hag is a good coach, don't get me wrong. Like, the guy, he's a decent coach. He seems like he knows his football. If they trust in him, you never know the price might work. But, Ronnie, I love you, mate, but it's time to go.
You know, obviously not scoring at home. But you heard it here first. Eric, 10 months. He'll be gone by the end of the year.